It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
SKOR North Twins Show, extra innings, live from Target Field. Twins opening a 3-gamer against the New York Mets. Meet the Mets. They're here at Target Field today. I'm coming at you from the Spanish radio broadcast, lostwins.com, for those looking for that fix. They're not broadcasting today, so I was like, I'm going to steal their broadcasting booth. Sometimes I'm usually out in the concourse. I've even using the visiting GM's booth at times. I was telling AJ off mic, though, I was like, it's one thing if I'm like not sure if this booth is being used. It's another thing. I don't want like Steve Cohen or whoever really the GM. I know Cohen is the owner of the Mets. Yeah. I don't want Carlos Mendoza walking in on some random podcast guy just like talking ball. So I was like, okay, I'd rather take the tongue. It's like when do you want to get mad at your mom or dad? Which one is gonna make it be more angry or less angry? That's kind of was my thinking here. Yep. So I apologize for the beige background here for lostwins.com, but Twins finishing up some BP here today at Target Field. And we did a full SKOR North Twins show today with Mackie and Judd on a kind of a state of the Twins like we do every Monday. And Phil brought up this point. If the Twins are swept today, is the season over? Swept during the course of this 3-game series. They can't get swept today. But if they get swept during the course of this series, is it over? They're 5-11 right now. And I'm not saying just because they would lose 2 out of 3, that automatically keeps their season alive. But man, 5-14 would look pretty daunting. Their playoff odds have taken a nosedive. I think it's fallen close to almost 20% in just 16 games played. Mm-hmm. So the Mets are in town, AJ. They're pitched really well. I think they have the #1 ERA in baseball. Clay Holmes will go on Monday. But what if they make a statement here? Okay, what if they take 2 out of 3 against the Mets? Do Twins fans at least somewhat have a little bit more hope? I know they're pissed at the organization, and nothing will change that. What happens over the next 72 hours? No. A sweep on either side from the Twins or being swept, nothing changes that. But is the season, to a degree, on the line against the Mets for 3 games?
I don't even think that's an over-exaggeration at this point. What's the old adage for baseball fans? You sure can't win a division in the first month, but you sure as hell can lose it.
Yeah.
And right now, they're on the verge of almost losing the division in the first month. This is crazy. You have a 3-game set here against the Mets before you head on the road to play just the woeful Braves, which I don't think anybody really saw coming with their start right now.
Also true.
But this is, you drop 2 of 3 to the Tigers in division. This is about as big of a April series as it can get. Having at least 2 games here before going on the road to Atlanta would do wonders for morale, just camaraderie, at least turning you, myself, people in the chat here, people listening, they're just optimism glasses up a little bit, because it was something I feel like almost in week 2, I think you said something on Twitter along the likes of 4-6 sure sounds a lot better than 3-7. That 1-game swing either way, and same thing here.
100%.
If you get 2, because you're sitting at 5-11, if you get to 7-12, that sounds a lot better than 6-13.
Yeah.
That it seems okay, you're kind of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps almost. You're really battening down the hatches. This is about as big as you need to get, and that starts first off on the mound today. Joe Ryan has to have a day. He needs to be a leader for the team. He has to come out all business, and he's a guy that I think is very business forward. You can't have a mistake. It's weird that we are already in it feels life or death start here for Joe Ryan, but you can't make a mistake. You can't let a curveball or a slider hang for a guy like Juan Soto, and all of a sudden, hey, he breaks this game open in the 3rd inning. You have to be in a position by the 5th to win this game. You can't be leaving it up to your bullpen, which has had okay outings at times, but for the most part, I don't know about you. I personally don't have a lot of confidence as soon as they go to 80% of the guys back there right now, at least. Not that my opinion can't change as things move forward, but right now you need a very good start from Joe Ryan on the mound.
Yeah, I know we don't typically get in the business of previews and stuff for in the sake of things, because I know people are likely even consuming this episode during the game, pre-game, or maybe even afterwards. But to your point, Joe Ryan throwing on Monday, Bailey Ober throwing on Tuesday. David Festa is going to get another crack at this. He's going to start the series finale on Wednesday. But the Mets, who do have, again, one of the better pitching staffs in baseball, they have Clay Holmes going today, the converted closer from the Yankees, who's now starting. They're going to have Tyler McGill, on Tuesday, the big right-hander who is having a very nice start to his season, but really hasn't had like the full body of work of being a dominant pitcher. So they kind of, I wouldn't say lucked out, but they have an opportunity here where they might have the pitching matchup actually going into this thing. And if that's the case, then they're going to be in a really good spot. So yes, you can't lose the game, win a division in April. You certainly can lose it. The record point I think you're talking about was, so last Sunday, a week ago Sunday, they were on the verge. They had a 6-run lead on the Astros. Yeah. And if they win that game, they're 4-5, and it's like, oh, this looks good. And then it becomes 3-6, and now it becomes 5-11. So like, you can see just if the math ain't mathin', both AJ and I are proud St. Cloud State Husky graduates. We're not going to get too deep into the weeds on this for our own sake, but it is kind of interesting that we're in April here, and if you can steal a series against a really good Mets team, then go to Atlanta, who actually might be the most disappointing team in baseball. That's not the Twins. I know Twins fans are pissed. Atlanta was a World Series pick by a lot of people. They're off to a horrendous start. So this is not me trying to like just fill you up with positivity, Twins fans. I get that might sound where this is coming from, but it does feel like a very big monumental series. And Rocco even touched on it today. This is easily the best team that they've faced so far. So if they can get a really good, really good test against an excellent pitching staff and win that battle, well, that's going to be good news for the Twins.
Let me ask you this, because this is something that I have been experiencing with like just watching the Wild this year, and they're on game 82 now tomorrow. But it seems like there's times when they raise their level to the competition, but they also very much drop it to that of the opposition when it's an inferior team. Being the best team that they're seeing so far this season, would you find it almost encouraging to an extent where if they come out and they just really battle 3 games, highly contested, back and forth, maybe they win one of the 3, but at least like they lose the other ones in a very tight knit, like the Mets were just simply better than them at the end of the day. Would that be encouraging to you to an extent to show that like they can play a higher level of baseball, or does that do nothing for you?
So this happened last year where like the Twins were really bad against Cleveland, classically again, really bad against New York. They were bad against some of the better teams in baseball, but where they actually showed up was when they played Seattle's, when they had 3 games against the Phillies here that they won. When they faced some of the best pitchers in baseball last year, they actually hit them incredibly well, which was, I think, to the grand point of what you're trying to make is they played up to their competition. And last year, I think the Twins, they went 11, 12, and 1 against the White Sox, thank God. They did really good against inferior teams, but and they held their own against some of the better pitchers, but them, losing, I think only winning 3 games against Cleveland all year. Again, math is math, and there, that makes it pretty hard to try to catch Cleveland if you lose all those matchups. So, yeah, losing interleague games against the Mets is far down the tie-breaking things that you're looking at. But if they can show some fight here, it is, I think, baby step, at least number 1 in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, as encouraging as that could be, a loss is still a loss, and you have to start winning series. You can't wait to finally turn the engine over, stick that thing in the ignition, and let's get things rolling right now. Get out on 35W, and let's put the pedal to the metal. You have to start winning some series here, and why not now, before you head out on the road? And then, frankly, it's a quick road trip because you're back, I want to say, against the Sox and
Angels, I think. Is it Angels?
Yeah. Angels, I'm glad Mike Trout's healthy.
Yeah.
For baseball. They've been a pretty, positive surprise, but also if they're coming to town, I would like to see them lose a bunch of games.
Yeah, that would also be a pretty big one. Yeah, Angels have been playing a little bit better. Obviously, the White Sox are the White Sox, so you'd like to think that there's still a path here where they can, crawl back to at least being somewhat near 500. Taking a look, too, they have now tweaked some of the lineup things. Carlos Correa, who got the day off Sunday, he's actually going to bat 5th today after batting mostly second or third all season. Edouard Julien is now kind of back to the Eddie Julien from 2 years ago, which was really encouraging. He's hitting the ball the other way. He's not striking out looking like it. I made the point today of I like the fact that even though he will strike out, he's at least going down swinging, i.e. Fallout Boy. So like I like that a lot. I was really trying to segue that in perfectly, but I didn't want to like butcher the lyric. But he's starting to put things together to the point where after a horrible year last year, and I think a lot of that was also mental with Eddie, the fact he's starting to put things together, Rocco's rewarding him with being back in the leadoff spot. That's not a damning thing on Matt Wallner. Wallner's having a solid year. But if Eddie Julien's back to 2023 Eddie Julien, then this lineup starts to click a little bit more. I'll have some stuff on Ty France here in just a bit, but Edouard Julien, if he's back to the player he was 2 years ago, I mean, that is speaking of individual players taking the necessary steps forward, despite the team record, that part is good.
Yeah, I mean, I was calling him a couple years ago, like, tongue-in-cheek Canadian Carew, because he was just walking up to the plate, and it was just like, all right, how is he going to get on this time? I know it's happening. It's a huge reassurance because he is a joy to watch when he is on his game. And I think right now what you're seeing, that there's a little resurgence, and now you have the backing of Rocco Baldelli, because, you can kind of throw anybody at the top, but I think this is more meaningful because he's gone through the demotion and then promotion and then demotion and then promotion.
Right.
Like, he's gone through some major struggles. To have him now back, he's DHing today, but top of the lineup, I think that speaks a lot for what the hitting staff, the manager, and just probably the rest of the clubhouse is probably feeling confidence-wise and having a guy like that at the top of the order.
Yeah, I mean, you even look at some of his baseball reference percentiles, like his average exit velocity, his barrel percentage, his sweet spot percentage. Like, he looks a lot more like the guy who was in 2023. I mean, he's getting on base. His WOBA's very good. Weighted on base is phenomenal. He's squaring up balls. He's not chasing, which is also a little bit encouraging. I don't mind if he chases the pitch he wants necessarily, but that's good. Like, if Julien can kind of be back to where he was, I mean, he's hitting 282 in just 42 plate appearances this season, so the sample size is still very early. But I think that mental part of, to your point, AJ, of failing and then coming up and back and down after having a great rookie year, like, that takes a toll on you. And I think as a hitter, you just become a lot more wiser after, especially in the game of baseball, right, which is literally the game of failures. Once you fail so much and you start to realize the things you have to make, I wasn't able to catch up with him today, but I do want to dig on some of the things he was able to adjust this spring or this winter, because he basically had to change some of his approach that made him very successful in the minor leagues and up until last year. So, and baseball players, as we know, are very much creatures of habit in their preparation. So I wonder how much of that preparation changed, and maybe even how at times how awkward that must have been.
Yeah, and outside of that too, in terms of like technical stuff, just the going up, down, and like dealing with, because these guys are humans. They just like I'm gonna, as soon as this wraps up, probably pop on Twitter, pop on Instagram or whatever. They probably do the same. And the thing is, people aren't every day coming to me and at AJ Fredrickson, you suck, like blah blah blah. I'm sure they kind of see that stuff here and there, and I'm sure because they're just normal people in a sense, it takes a toll on them. Now that he's kind of probably built up these different walls and like how he's battled this adversity, how that has also maybe changed his just approach. If he can take a life approach and apply it to baseball, because it's easy to say, okay, next at bat, whatever, but I don't know. Sometimes you get in your own head. I mean, look at what we saw this past Sunday with the Masters, like Rory battling that adversity, like overcoming that lifelong feat. Obviously, this is not a lifelong feat. He just wants to get back to being an everyday MLBer, which, right now he's on that track. But there is something to be said about having the life stuff also pile on outside of, okay, I can't hit a curveball right now. It's two different things.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of guys kind of also being on top of the ball, that Ty France won Player of the Week might be one of the bigger surprises of the 2025 season. This was a dude that was a cast-off from Seattle last year. He goes, I think, to Philly. Also still struggles a little bit. He battled through a really painful heel injury that he had to play through last season. This year he's hitting 298. He's probably been their most consistent hitter. What's probably even more crazy is he's not striking out, just 4 strikeouts and 62 plate appearances. So, I mean, I don't expect him to be Tony Gwynn for the rest of the year. But if they have like a solid, I mean, defensively, that's a different conversation. And I think you kind of might have to take some of your lumps or some of your medicine with him there. But offensively, he's been their most consistent hitter by far. I mean, he wasn't getting the balls to drop in the first couple games against St. Louis, but everything was hard contact. His expected batting average is in the 90th percentile. Again, he's not striking out, so that's huge, but he's been barreling balls. He's been hitting the ball well, and he got rewarded. For as bad as this Twins team has been, disappointing as it's been, he was the American League Player of the Week for the last week.
Yeah, and not to also kind of go back to the preview-esque things, but my biggest thing that I'm watching for this series is the battle of first baseman. Because Pete Alonso has been sensational this season. 18 RBIs already for the guy. And if you look at his past week, he's batting 400. Well, like you just said, Ty France in the past week, he's batting 440. He hasn't struck out in the past week.
Yeah.
He has been incredible and exactly the type of adrenaline shot to the neck that this team needs offensively. You just hope that whatever he's doing can start rubbing off on a few of the guys that still continue to struggle, i.e., Carlos Correa, who, like you said, got demoted down to 5th in the order.
Let's see if I can do this on the YouTube screen.
Oh,
this is Pete Alonso's percentiles for everything. This is to your no, and it's totally fine to talk about what we're going to get out of Pete, who I believe was teammates too with Harrison Bader. He's not in the lineup today when they were both at Florida playing for the Gators. But everything's in deep red here. I mean, you look at the spray chart too. I mean, everything's against the wall. Everything is crazy. So, yeah, this is a dude you can't leave a middle pitch to. He will kill you. He's off to an insane start. He's hitting 321. He has an OPS over 1,000. Yes, he's having a hell of a year. He had to settle for that ridiculous contract because I don't know what the hell is going on with free agency and collusion, which is super offensive. I'd be so pissed if I was him and his representation. But I don't think, because I wasn't here 2 years ago, I think, for a Mets game. So, this is the first time I could see Pete Alonso. Fortunate to watch it from a wind-free press box. But I'm excited to see Pete, man. This is the polar bears here.
He is a guy that he steps in and, I'm not on the mound, but I'm scared for the pitcher.
Yeah. Huh.
And that's kind of how he's been this year. But the nice part is, Ty France, he name-wise probably doesn't carry the same intimidation factor, but if you look at these guys on paper, it's the old hide the names, hide the profile pictures. Who would you rather have over the past couple of weeks?
Right.
I think the average fan and an analytic person is going to say, Ty France. He's been phenomenal. So as good as Pete Alonso is going to be and has been this season for the Mets, Ty France has kind of been, in a sense, Pete Alonso for the Twins, which I don't know when that signing was made. People expected that sort of output, so it's really refreshing that they kind of got one right. But you need, like you said, the kind of castaway there. You just need other people to start stepping up, and that's where baseball is so funny with one guy getting one at bat out of every 9 guys. Just him he just can't do it alone.
Totally. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm excited to watch him. But yeah, between Ty France and Pete Alonso, right? Just two cats cutting it up at first base, hitting bombs. Who hits the first home run at Target Field tonight? Is it Pete Alonso or this series? Is it Pete Alonso or Ty France? Just who would have thunk? Not me. I can tell you right now. I did not think I'd have Ty France as our Pete Alonso, but that's where we're at when you're 5-11 on the SKOR North Twins Show. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
And like Jonathan says here in the YouTube chat, for people watching this, Juan Soto's due for a home run. I kind of agree. That's nightmare fuel right there, which is he's not necessarily been in a slump, but he's not normal Juan Soto, where it just feels like he puts the ball over the wall automatic. This cannot, weather-wise and everything, I don't think this field necessarily suits him the best. So you'd like to hope that they can limit him in a sense, but there's no easy outs at the top 4 or 5 guys that Mets lineup. What is it? Lindor, Soto, Alonso is their leadoff. It's pretty tough. Disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and Lindor's off to a slow start. Soto not in his, maybe yet in mid-season form yet. But yeah, I mean, good luck. Both, you can't pitch, and that's why the beauty of having Juan Soto in front of Pete Alonso. Pitch around Juan Soto. That's going to work out well for you, and that's probably why he's killing people this year. So, hit that like button and subscribe button here. Any Mets fans that have trickled into this podcast, you have found this on YouTube or on your podcast feeds, hello. Support your Mets podcast, but also support your Minnesota Twins podcast. Hit that like button and subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Tomorrow is supposed to be a Trevor Plouffe Tuesday. It is not a Trevor Plouffe Tuesday. He's traveling. He's all over the place. So we're going to do Trevor Plouffe on Thursday instead. So if you're looking for a Trevor Plouffe episode tomorrow and you're blowing up the comments section, where the hell is the Trevor Plouffe episode? Got to wait till Thursday. So keep sending those comments for a couple more days, and then you'll be rewarded with a Thursday episode of a Trevor Plouffe Tuesday. But that's AJ. I'm Dex. Appreciate everyone. Thank you for supporting the SKOR North Twins Show, and we'll be talking at you soon.